Friends, thank you, Graham. Friends, we have all heard about vibrant Gujarat. Today, IOD has the pleasure of introducing to you one of the most vibrant Chief Secretaries of India. That is Mr. Pankaj Kumar of the IAS. He is also additionally the chairman of the Gujarat State Petroleum Corporation Limited, Gujarat Alkalis and Chemicals Limited. And if I were to read all the organizations of which he is the chairman, probably we'll run out of time, entire time. But you can take it, most of the corporations are under his guidance and leadership. Pankaj has worked as the additional principal secretary to Chief Minister and additional Chief Secretary, Home Department. He's held multiple senior positions in state PSUs and has wide experience in various departments such as revenue, home, health and family welfare, agriculture and disaster management. In fact, almost all the departments of the state government. Pankaj is credited with leading a series of reforms in the state revenue department, including development of online portal IORA that facilitated online non-agricultural permission and land premium payment notably. He has fostered change in the working culture to be more open and transparent. He's also extensively used social media in governance, especially during national disasters. He is guiding the entire operation for COVID-19 in Gujarat. Pankaj is a scholar. He has done his BTech engineering from IIT Kanpur and he's an MBA from Ljubljana abroad. Over to vibrant Pankaj Kumar. Thank you.
Thank you. First, congratulations to all the award winners. Now, distinguished friends, fellow speakers, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me immense pleasure to be a part of this wonderful event and interacting with such a diverse audience at this global platform. I take this opportunity to extend my warm greetings to all of you, and again, congratulations to all the award winners. Friends, climate change looms large over us, and it would not be an overstatement to say that climate change is the biggest and the most pressing challenge facing planet Earth. It poses an existential threat to the world as we know it, and to humanity and to millions of other species that call this planet home. Finding a way to tackle climate change is not an option, but the only option. I congratulate IOD for hosting this event to discuss this important topic at a very opportune moment. Friends, I am going to speak about the steps Gujarat, which is one of the most industrialized and industrious states of India, has taken to contribute to India's vision and commitment towards addressing climate change. Many of you must be aware that Gujarat is the home to the largest diamond polishing hub, home to the world's largest refinery complex, the largest ceramic nucleus, the hub of some of the largest pharma manufacturing clusters, and the leader in many other segments. While Gujarat is known as the industrial powerhouse of India, the state is also pioneer in use of natural gas and renewable energy. Let me take this opportunity to give you a glimpse into the various path-breaking green initiatives that have been implemented to build a sustainable and climate-resilient future for the people of Gujarat. And I will also slightly discuss the new initiatives that have been rolled out. Friends, it is a matter of pride for all of us that it was under the visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, that the state took the initial steps to emerge as India's gas capital and the leader in renewable energy. I will first speak about the natural gas initiatives converting Gujarat to a gas-based economy. And we call here gasonomy. Under the Honorable Prime Minister's leadership, the Gujarat government embarked on developing a statewide gas grid network, first of its kind, connecting all possible gas sources with consumers and transforming the state into a gas-based economy in just a decade. It is the result of several concerted efforts by the state and all the stakeholders that natural gas accounts for over 25% of Gujarat's primary energy basket. This 25% for us, now just compare with the global average of 24%, and our national average is 6 to 7%. Thousands of industries and factories and millions of vehicles that were earlier using traditional fuels are now powered by natural gas. The shift to a cleaner fuel has led to a reduction of lakhs of tons of carbon emissions, and its positive impact on the environment can be imagined. The Government of India, under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister, aims to increase the share of gas in the country's primary energy basket from 6.5% at present to 15% by 2030. We have over 25% contribution from natural gas in the energy basket, as I just stated before, and we will work harder to ensure that India achieves its target earlier. I assure you that Gujarat is ready to play a vital role in realizing his vision towards cleaner energy. Friends, while climate change is attracting a lot of attention now, and economies world over are focusing efforts on transitioning from traditional energy sources to renewable energy sources to tackle global warming, many of you may not be aware that Gujarat was the first state at subnational level in the whole of Asia to launch an independent climate change department way back in 2009 itself. The department was tasked with the responsibility to take actions required for mitigation of and adoption to climate change, and is another example of the foresightness of Honorable Prime Minister. Over the years, the state of Gujarat has emerged as the hub of renewable energy. This journey also began under his dynamic leadership. Friends, Gujarat first introduced a solar power policy way back in 2009 to promote solar energy generation. Everyone knew the unlimited potential of sun as the planet's most abundant source of energy. But few solar power projects were operational in the country until then. Under this policy, the state established Asia's largest multi-developer solar park at a single location at Charanka village in North Gujarat with an installed capacity of over 730 megawatt. India has been worshipping the sun god since ages, but in 2009, few would have imagined that within a decade, India would be showing the world the path of one sun, one world, one grid. The solar power policy also played the role of a catalyst in transforming the state into an integrated solar generation hub. In just a decade, Gujarat has scaled up solar power generation capacity to more than 6,000 megawatt. I'm happy to inform you that the Gujarat government has formed up plans to increase this capacity many folds in the very near future by accelerating development of large solar power projects, a small-scale distributed systems, and setting up ultra-mega solar park. Gujarat government has also policies to encourage industries, farmers, and common households to generate their own electricity using solar power. We are also working on a mega policy for decarbonization of the whole manufacturing process and the industrial process. I would like to draw your attention to initiatives in the field of wind energy and solar energy, which are many. In the field of solar energy, we have example of Modera town in Mehsana, which is home to an ancient sun temple, into a net solar energy positive town by enabling it to meet its energy requirement through solar power. Gujarat was also the first state to set up rooftop solar panels on canals under the Canal Solar Power Project in 2014, doing away with the need to acquire land for setting up solar projects and at the same time limiting evaporation of water from the canals. Friends, Gujarat is also among the leading states in India as far as tapping wind energy is concerned. The state is home to nearly 9,000 megawatt of wind power generation capacity, one of the highest in the country. On the whole, the state accounts for more than 15,000 megawatt of renewable energy capacity, which is around 15% of the country's renewable energy capacity and 42% of the total energy capacity of Gujarat. I am very happy to present before you that we have started setting up the world's largest hybrid renewable energy park with more than 30,000 megawatt of wind and solar projects in the desert area of Kutch. Apart from the huge environmental impact, renewable energy has also made significant contribution in the socio-economic development of the state by creating employment opportunities, promoting entrepreneurship, strengthening energy security, and boosting infrastructure development in interior pockets as well as in the coastal areas. Earlier this year, the Gujarat government unveiled a state action plan on climate change aimed at building a sustainable and climate resilient future in line with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Besides health, the plan covers aspects such as renewable energy, energy conservation, forestry, coastal areas, tribal areas, animal husbandry, and agriculture. The plan will involve people, mobilize private and public investment, as well as various policy measures. Friends, most recently, we announced Gujarat State Electric Vehicle Policy, which aims for transition of the transportation sector towards electric mobility by encouraging investments into the sector and improving quality of environment by reducing air pollution. The policy offers subsidies on electric vehicles as well as for charging infrastructure and incentives on manufacturing of EVs and components. In fact, per kilowatt subsidy which has been offered by government of Gujarat, which is rupees 10,000, is among one of the highest in the country. Going forward, Gujarat envisages continuing to explore emerging areas like solar wafers, solar cells, solar batteries, energy storage, and many more. Since the topic of this conference is climate change, I believe it will be apt to share the story of environmental transformation of Morbi city, which is the largest ceramic manufacturing cluster in India. The National Green Tribunal banned use of coal gasifiers in ceramic units in 2019 due to environmental concerns. The whole industry was steering it as shutdown, but the state PSUs rose to the occasion, and within days, the infrastructure to supply gas to the units was put in place. Within months of this shift from coal gasifiers to natural gas, PM 2.5, PM 10, and SO2 concentration in Morbi town were down by 75%, 72%, and 85% respectively. Morbi's transition to a greener fuel and its transformation had become a global case study. Friends, as you are aware, and it has been mentioned also, that the world leaders that met at Glasgow for COP26 summit to discuss climate action, Honorable Prime Minister made India's commitment for increasing its non-fossil energy capacity to 500 gigawatt and meeting 50% of nation's energy requirement for renewable energy by 2030. He also pledged that India will achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2070. I am confident that the renewable energy push, coupled with a smarter use of cleaner fossil fuel and moving into emerging fuels like green hydrogen, will set India on course to achieve the net zero targets well within the deadline. I assure you that Gujarat is committed to further tapping renewable energy sources in a manner that would position them as the mainstream source of energy supply, as well as emerge as a key contributor to the 500 gigawatt renewable energy capacity target before the 2030 deadline. Friends, climate change is real, and the time to start addressing it is now. As Honorable Prime Minister had noted in his address at COP26, daily choices of billions of people around the world will take the fight against climate change billions of steps towards every day. I urge all of you to make conscious choices every day. Before I finish, I would like to say a few words about Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit, the premier industry event in India. The Gujarat government is hosting the 10th edition of the biennial summit in Gandhinagar with the central theme of From Atmanirbhar Gujarat to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Honorable Prime Minister will inaugurate the summit on January 10. The 3-day summit will witness multiple seminars, roundtable conferences, conventions, B2B and B2G meetings, focusing largely on very important issues like what we are discussing: green mobility, clean energy, innovation, sustainability, natural agriculture, futuristic economy, and futuristic technology, and many more. I request all of you to block your dates and be a part of Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit 2022. In the end, I thank IOD for giving me this opportunity to interact with you all. I am sure that with our concerted and wholehearted efforts, we will definitely be able to provide a better, greener, and cleaner tomorrow to our coming generations. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, sir. That was a very inspiring and fascinating delivery about the growth and the transformation of Gujarat. I have got a couple of questions that have popped up in front of me, and I wonder if it's okay to pose them to you. Yes, you nod. Yes. The first of these is at the state level. Gujarat has obviously been transforming over many years. The initiatives that it's had have fed further initiatives, so there has been a momentum created. Member states are in a catch-up mode. I wonder if you could give us advice on how you think they could accelerate their progress.
Yeah, would you, there was some connection problem, so may I request you just to repeat it?
Yes, of course. The first question was that at the state level, Gujarat has obviously been transforming over many years, and initiatives feed further initiatives, so they create some momentum. For many of the states, they're in a catch-up mode. And the question which has been posed is, what advice would you give them to help accelerate their progress?
What support we give to the others? In fact, we are very open to share our ideas with everyone. And in fact, Vibrant Gujarat, we have sessions on that. So whatever good we have been doing, we always provide a platform where others can come and they can learn from our experiences. And simultaneously, we are also always eager to learn from the best which is happening anywhere else in the world.
So a sharing of ideas at all levels is really, really important. Thank you. The second question is at the population level, and the question is, how can state governments motivate their populations to adopt more energy efficient lifestyles as part of their energy transition process?
In fact, there are multiple ways in which we are addressing these issues. One is like in all our building regulations, we have introduced provisions, regulations, which can promote use of construction of the green buildings, more recycling of resources, having climate change into our course curriculum, emphasis on greening, natural farming, cleaning of rivers, changing our habits and behaviors, and the list is very, very long.
So really a transformation of a raising of awareness through involvement in activities as much as a direct motivational stimulus. That's great. Thank you very much indeed.